everyone, thanks for listening to the Sergio Nazzaro podcast. I'm Sergio Nazzaro, the founder and CEO of, my life. I've grown up here in Colorado and I've decided to stay put as I continue to pursue being an entrepreneur and growing my business as a real estate agent. Prior to this, I graduated from the United States Air Force Academy and served my country for 11 years before becoming a CrossFit coach. I have a lovely wife, Lizzie, and we are in the process of growing our family and living here in the Swans Lake neighborhood. For the last 2 years, I've committed to documenting my process in both my personal and professional life as a means of journaling, and hopefully helping others along the way. So listen in as I share the next chapter of my story. What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome back. Episode 9 of the Sergio Nazzaro podcast. I took a week off. Because I was in Hawaii for my honeymoon / baby moon with Lizzie. And it was fantastic. And we were able to spend a lot of time together in Kauai. We went for about 8 days. We stayed at the Koloa landing down in Poipu. And I'll tell you what, when we were over there, what I love about my relationship with my wife is that she is down for exploring. Even when she's pregnant, she's down to do fun shit. And so when we were down there, we did a doors off helicopter tour with Jack Harder helicopters. That was amazing. We did a snorkeling tour and exploration trip with the Nepal Coast with Holo Holo charters. We hiked the Kalalau Trail, which is on the Nepal Coast, and we were able to see a bunch of waterfalls. We did some stand-up paddleboarding up to some secret waterfalls. The whole experience was absolutely just incredible. And I'll tell you what, Kauai is a magical place. The things that you see there, just how lush it is, the energy of that place being, so close to active volcanoes. It was just absolutely incredible. And it was really a cool time to just kind of reconnect with myself and reconnect with Lizzie, being that we have a lot of stuff coming up, right? We're getting ready to have a baby boy, which is pretty cool. But it was a chance for us to just kind of reconnect. But inevitably, right, when you are on vacation with somebody, especially your significant other, sometimes there can be a little bit of tension. And luckily for us, we got into a little bit of a fight. And I share that with you and I laugh about it because we've already talked through it and we laughed about it. But it was over some dumb shit. But we didn't talk for almost a full day. And it happened to just be the same day that we hiked the Kalalau Trail. So we hiked the Nepal Coast in silence. And, for you guys listening, you're like, I've been there. I've definitely gotten in an argument with my spouse before. You get it. And for those of you who are like, I would never fight with my spouse. Shut the fuck up. I don't care because we got into a fight. But here's what I learned. There is a real superpower in the ability to pause between a stimulus and your response. Something that your spouse or somebody else says and how you respond to it. And I think we call that your fuse. Some people have short fuses, some people have long fuses. And I think our ability to control our response to a stimulus gives us control of our lives, gives us the ability to respond the way that we would want to instead of reacting. Because reacting is never a good scenario. And inevitably, reacting leads you to saying things, doing things maybe you wouldn't normally do, right? And the fight was over something so dumb. We were driving back and Lizzie wanted to go get shaved ice and I asked her to look it up on where we could go. And she's like, I don't know where it is. We're on vacation. We're just supposed to go with the flow. And I was like, well, I don't fucking live here. I don't know. And it was just in that moment, right? We were just kind of butting heads over something dumb. And, we just didn't talk for a little bit. And so we were hiking this amazing Nepal Coast in silence. And it's 10 miles round trip. And there's breathtaking views, which I would stop and make Lizzie take a photo together just so we could capture it, even though we were both pissed at each other. But there's these breathtaking views. And when you get down to the beach, you have the opportunity to continue to hike the Nepal Coast, which is another 9 miles and you have to have a permit for. Or you can hike up into the woods or into the forest. And there is this 400-foot waterfall at the very end of this 1.5-mile hike through mud, right? Mud up to your ankles. But at that beach, there's also these pools, and the pools are filled with natural water that's coming off of the waterfall, so it's fresh water, and then that flows into the ocean. And so you have this contrast of this fresh, cold, freezing cold water, in this warm beach, and it's nature's hot and cold bath. And so obviously Lizzie and I weren't talking, but we were able to come together after it once we had kind of like rectified the whole situation and talk about our experience. And it was really cool because as you're going through this tour and this hike and you're exploring and everything's so new and everything's so different than, in Colorado, you really kind of start to think about like how grateful you are for certain things in your life. How grateful I was for in that moment to have that silence of just being able to, reconnect with my thoughts and my heart and my gut and my head. And it was a really incredible tour. But one of the things that I realized on that tour, outside of the ability to control, right, and have that pause between your stimulus and your response, which is a incredible superpower, is that there was this couple on the bus with us because we had to get a shuttle back there. And there was this gentleman and this lady who were on the doors off helicopter tour with us. They were in the back seat. Lizzie and I were in the front. And the lady was deathly afraid of heights. So she was on this tour. She's like, well, that didn't bother me, but I can't hike that part of the trail because I'll freak out. And she was visibly like shaken being just on the shuttle to the beach that started the hike. She had lived out this entire storyline, this entire fear of being on this trail that you could tell she was just distraught. You could tell that those two were having maybe a tough morning. You could tell that it was just not a good scenario. And I started to think, like, how often do we live a scenario twice? We live what could possibly happen, and then we actually live out the event. And how oftentimes is that event not nearly as scary or as bad or anything that we had initially thought through? So why would we want to live through that pain twice? And obviously I didn't say this to this lady. I don't know this lady. But I wish her husband would have said it to her, or somebody would have said it to her, because I felt bad for her. She was going on this breathtaking trip and she was just living in fear. And it's no different than when, I remember one time I had to break up with this girl, and for weeks, I was thinking about the conversation, how it was going to go, how poorly it was going to go. Inevitably, we had the conversation. We both agreed to go separate ways, and it was actually a very amicable conversation. But in my head, I thought like it was going to be this huge blow up. There's going to be a scene, and I lived in this state of fear and like I was just scared for weeks. And the conversation wasn't nearly as bad. And I just wonder, how many times do we actually do that in our own lives on a regular basis? And that kind of led me to my conversation with the coaching call that I had this week. So I like to volunteer and coach within our brokerage from time to time. I think newer agents often fail for the wrong reasons, right? Not doing the work, not having, confidence in who they are. It's very rarely to do with real estate, but more importantly, the 6 inches of real estate inside of our head, like they lack the confidence. And so that was the question I posed to them. The question I asked them was like, where are you the most confident in your life? There are things that we do where we are the absolute best, whether that's our job or working out or snowboarding or skiing or music. Like there are things that we are really, really good at. We've developed those skills. We have curated that skill set over time. And then there's things that we're really self-conscious about. Maybe it's the way we look. Maybe it's that we're losing our hair. By the way, I was very self-conscious about that for a long time. Then I got this swift new look. I'm feeling good about it. Maybe we're self-conscious about how we speak or how we dress. There are a number of things that we can be self-conscious about it. And newsflash, we're all self-conscious about something. But when I pose the question, what are you most confident about? I was leading them because how do we bridge the gap between what we're really confident in and what we're self-conscious about? And the truth is, we were never fully confident in that skill set that we are confident in now. It took time. We were all beginners at one point, and it took time and effort and failure and dedication and consistency to get there. How can we take that pattern, that roadmap of developing those confident skill sets, and apply it to maybe where we're a little self-conscious? How can we just maybe make a minor tweak to something that we're self-conscious in? Because inevitably, I believe that our biggest insecurities is what is holding us back from living the fullest life that we can live. And it's hard, right? Like I'm insecure sometimes about the way I look, right? Like, and I work out every day, but I see myself differently. But I've also learned to love the way I look too. There's days that are good, there's days that are bad. You get it, right? Anybody who's working out there. But how do I bridge that gap? Like, how do I love myself in the same way that I love myself, knowing that when I'm out getting ready to go snowboard and we're going to do this line that is super technical, you can't fall, it's very aggressive. How do I approach it with that same level of confidence? Time, effort, dedication, one step at a time, one actionable step. So I would encourage anybody out there, right? Like if you feel like you're not living up to your fullest potential, explore something that you are really, really good at, and then take whatever you're self-conscious about that you want to improve and see if you can bridge the gap by drawing correlations. We are coming up on Thanksgiving week. I think it's one of my favorite weeks because it's all about eating food. In fact, we're headed up to Minnesota. This is going to be one of the last trips that Lizzie takes since she's pregnant. We'll do another one in January. But after February, like, she's grounded, right? She's here. But we're going to go to Minnesota. And what I love about Thanksgiving is it's really an opportunity to reflect. What are you grateful for in your life? What are things that are people or experiences that you're grateful for in your life? Like, I am so grateful that I get to create this podcast. And I'm not making any money off of it. I'm doing it because it's fun, but I'm doing it because I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity that real estate has given me in making a successful career, that I get to kind of toy around and like fuck around with my hobbies. And so this week, as you head into Thanksgiving week, wherever you're going, whether that's a Friendsgiving, time at home by yourself, family meals, which I understand can be stressful at times, I want you to take some time this week, every day this week, and I want you to either make a call or send a text to 1 or 2 people a day just to let them know how grateful you are for them, for the relationship you have. And if that feels like too much, you're like, I don't really want to be that vulnerable. I get it. You don't have to do that. If that's the case, then I just want you to write down 1 or 2 things that you're grateful for every day. And just realize that expressing that gratitude as we head into the season of being thankful, hopefully it'll help ground us. Hopefully it'll help us use it as a moment of reflection. And hopefully it'll help us really connect with the purpose of this holiday, which is to give thanks. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to this. If you think anybody would find this helpful, pass it along to them, right? And if you have the moment, like, give me a review. Or if there's anything that you want me to talk about, I'll open it up to you guys as well. I'm so grateful that you guys take the time to listen to this. It means a lot. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. I'm going to weigh in Thursday morning and see how much weight I can gain on Thursday. So I'll be documenting that. Stay tuned. But this is going to be a great holiday. Enjoy it. I wish you guys nothing but the best. Take care. Until episode 10, stay tuned. And I'll be back to talk to you guys.